Face the nation. I'm Leslie Stahl. We'll be covering two stories this morning: the fallout from Speaker Jim Wright's resignation with our guest, Attorney General Dick Thornburgh. But first, the massacre in Tiananmen Square. CBS News has some new footage of the violence in the square yesterday when China's Army of the People opened fire on the people, shooting with automatic rifles, beating, crushing hundreds of students and others who had been peacefully demonstrating for democracy. China's official television news ran pictures of the destruction of the proud symbol of the student protest. Joining us now from Beijing, our correspondent there, John Sheehan, and in New York, CBS News consultant Betty Ballord. John, let's go first to you. What is the very latest there in Beijing?
Well, Leslie, we have just been told that CBS News correspondent Richard Roth and cameraman Derek Williams, who were taken into military custody during the assault on Tiananmen Square, are all right.
Oh,
and the
John.
U.S. Embassy has just told us that the Marine Guards are on their way to pick them up from the municipal authorities.
And they're totally safe. They have not been hurt at all. That's so wonderful. John, go on.
The situation in the streets is really not happy. There are people still going out in the streets. Vehicles are being burned. There is a great anger in the people of Beijing. Some soldiers have fallen into the hands of the people and been beaten to death. Other soldiers have been saved by crowds of people. The people of Beijing are shocked. They're angry. There has just been an ominous announcement on Beijing radio and television from the mayor of the city, telling the people to stop the uprising or serious punishment will result.
So
I say that's ominous because a similar announcement was made just before the troops assaulted Tiananmen Square, and there's a strong feeling here that the army is advancing on the university campuses now. That threatens terrible bloodshed.
Betty Ballord in New York. China has never had anything but a history of authoritarian government. People, I think I heard you say last night that you thought that this desire for democracy could not be crushed. What really makes you think that communist regimes have been crushing uprisings for the past 40 years?
Because I think the people are of one heart and one mind. They want change. And I think they're willing to risk their lives for it. As you can see, people went out into the streets to man the crossroads with nothing except their desire to stop the army. And I think that eventually they will win, even though in the meantime there may be terrible, terrible bloodshed.
John, this has really all been about a power struggle within the government of China. The hardliners have taken over. Is there any reason to think that the moderates can come up and take over from the hardliners at this point?
At this point, no, because the whole crux of this, the reason for this terrible bloodshed, has been a handful of leaders preserving their own personal prestige, their personal powers, and their personal advantages in the society, the comforts of their position. This is raw personal power. The hardest thing for us to understand here and for the Chinese people to understand is how this handful of old leaders could hate the young people of their own country so much.
Betty, what about members of the Communist Party, if it's such a small handful of people?
Well, I think that for the last couple of years while I was there, I could not tell the difference in the depth of discontent from party members and non-party members. I think you will see perhaps a mass resignation from those who cannot live with their conscience and stay within the party.
Okay, Betty Ballord, thank you very much. John Sheehan, wonderful news about Richard Roth.